Welcome to Learning Skills Together. In this presentation, we want to talk to you a little bit about the Learning Skills Together intervention and also talk to you about some of the principles that underlie this program. So the goal of Learning Skills Together is to equip you as a caregiver with the knowledge and skills you need to capably provide care that is safe for both you and the person you're caring for, and also hygienic, and also supports the comfort and dignity of your family member. Our hope for you is that you will learn how to confidently deliver personal and nursing type care to your family member. We know that caregivers are taking on more and more care that is becoming much more complex, and for the most part, caregivers are learning it by trial and error, and often they have fear of hurting the person that they're caring for or harming themselves. And so the goal of this workshop is to provide you with confidence in providing that hands-on care. The Learning Skills Together has been offered by the Caring for the Caregiver program for more than 4 years, was initially developed as a community-based program in person, and now has transitioned to an online program. It was developed by a multidisciplinary team of healthcare experts with input in every step of the way from family caregivers, nursing, occupational therapy, speech language pathology, dentistry and dental hygiene, gerontology, and as I mentioned, most importantly, input from family caregivers about what some of the challenges they were encountering in providing care for their family member. So some of the principles that are underlying Learning Skills Together is that caregiving equals learning. Many caregivers have said to us, I had a position in a company, I was doing this, I was trained to be a school teacher, I went to school to become an accountant. I never learned these things about providing hands-on care that I've now fallen into with my family member. And so everyone is starting at a similar point where they need to learn what are these things that are important that I'm doing as a family caregiver. And it entails regular learning. No one begins this role knowing everything. And oftentimes other caregivers will have been in your shoes. That's why we're calling this Learning Skills Together, because we learn from each other. And certainly things that I've learned about caregiving, the most that I've learned has come from other caregivers. So we learn together and learn from each other. So asking for help is okay. Often caregivers feel uncomfortable thinking I should know it all, but it's important that caregivers feel comfortable to ask for help to complete certain tasks. Caregivers can seek help from the healthcare team, from nurses, a number of people who were involved in creating this program, from formal care providers such as assistants that may come into your home, or from other caregivers and family or friends. It's very important to think about your care team and who am I going to need to have around me to provide care. Often people will say, well, can I help you? Let me know if I can help you. But what caregivers have told me and what we've learned over time is that we need to be specific about what we need. So if someone says, can I help you? It might be great to have your list ready already. Yes, I need someone to do this next week, or I need someone to pick up groceries, or a family member to take our mother to see the doctor to her appointment next week. So being very specific can help you to get the help that you need. Some of the support that you might get is including answering questions. Someone may model, as we're going to do throughout this program, on how to perform care, or actually having someone to come in to help you to provide different types of care. Sharing helps us all to learn. And also important that you're not thinking about perfection, because if you're thinking about that, you're going to probably drive yourself crazy. But thinking about, I'm continually learning and learning more things to care for my family members. Caregiving, importantly, also means taking care of yourself. And I think that's the first principle. And so in order for you to provide very good care to your family member, you need to take care of yourself. If you're sick, stressed, tired, you're not going to be able to give the best care to your family member. So it's important that you first think about, what is it that I need to care for myself? So we're focused on how to feel confident when providing complex care for your family member, but we also encourage you to continue learning about your own self-care. Being very attentive to your emotional health. We know that caregivers, about 30% of caregivers at any point in time, suffer from depression. So your own emotional and mental health is very important. Also learning about the community resources that are available to help me. There's things out there, but often they're a best kept secret, and they shouldn't be. So learning about what kinds of resources are there in the community, some for free, some at a small cost, that can help me to provide care. And also learning about the financial piece, and in terms of how can I reduce my out-of-cost expenses related to getting other financial support? And then what kind of social support is there for me as a family caregiver, and for us as a family impacted by dementia? Are there things that we can continue to do in our community? And there are things like memory cafes, which are meant to be an inclusive event where families, people living with dementia, their family caregiver, come together to meet other people who are on their same journey, socialize together and learn from each other, and have fun together as well. So as I mentioned, perfection isn't the goal. Even as you develop new skills, perfection or a perfect isn't a goal we recommend chasing after. And there really isn't such a thing as a perfect caregiver. So be kind to yourself. Remember that you're doing the best that you can do at that moment. So aiming for perfection is going to be frustrating and exhausting. So improving is a reasonable goal. So always learning and improving. So we suggest aiming to do the best you can and always aiming for improvement. So the principles we're going to talk about just for a few minutes are safety, hygiene, comfort, enablement, and dignity. And those are principles that underpin this learning together skills intervention. So, and sometimes it may seem like the priorities may be at odds with each other, and you may need to decide what is more important to me in this particular circumstance. So the first, and I think it foremost, is safety. And so it means focusing on steps that you are taking to protect your care recipient or your family member that you're caring for, and yourself against harm. So what are the things that you're doing in terms of safety with mobility, preventing the person from wandering and getting lost, thinking, and throughout all of our modules that we talk about in terms of the complex care that you're providing, safety will be an underlying principle. When you think about medication management, how am I ensuring safety? And then hygiene. To support the goal of hygiene means to maintain practices that support cleanliness and prevent disease. And we all know how much better we feel after even just washing our face or washing down. And it may be in terms of safety that you're no longer able to get your family member into the bathtub or into a shower, but how can you still support that goal of hygiene? What are things that you could do? And we will talk about those. And then to remember, as part of your self-care, your hygiene is important too as a caregiver. So again, caring for yourself. Thirdly, comfort. And to support comfort means to reduce pain, both physical pain and psychological stress, for both caregivers and your recipients of care. And we know that often some of the behaviors that we may see, and we'll be talking about those more in the next module, with a person living with dementia, maybe because they have emotional discomfort, they're not able to express themselves, or they may be experiencing physical pain. So again, comfort is an important priority, an important principle underlying the care that we're going to talk about and the hands-on complex care. Enablement really means supporting independence. So enabling means to support your family member to continue to do activities as they want to do on their own as much as possible. And so again, you might be balancing enablement or independence and safety. I want to maintain the independence of my family member in taking his or her medications, but I also want to make sure that it's safe. So as the dementia progresses, it may be that first you're watching your family member take their pills, but now you're saying, let's sit down together and do it. So you're still supporting safety, but you're supporting their independence. Let's do that pill dispenser together so that you can make sure the right pills are put in the right days. And then at one point, you still may give them some choices about it, but you may need to take over for safety, managing their medications. So it's really knowing the person you're caring for and knowing how best can I still support their personhood, their independence to the extent that it's possible. Dignity. So to promote dignity means making sure that the care recipient and the caregiver feel respected and valued. And that's by other family members, by your healthcare providers, and by the community at large. And we have a number of events under the umbrella of Dementia Friendly San Antonio that really does aim to support the dignity. But when we think about it more specifically to complex care, what are the things for your person that you can be doing? If it's a son caring for a mother, perhaps they're not comfortable, neither are comfortable with the bathing. So it might be getting in a female help to bathe the person. For the caregiver, you need to be included as part of the team and feel know the important role you're playing as a family caregiver and that you're the expert in this situation. So we really, throughout the modules, as we talk about providing complex care, really the principle of ensuring that in this care, both the caregiver and the person that he or she is caring for feels valued and respected. So just a summary slide to see the 5 principles together: safety, hygiene, comfort, independence, and dignity. And knowing that at times you may need to make decisions about which principle really is most important in that situation. For example, there may be times when the person is not wanting to bathe and is resisting the need to bathe. And so maybe you want to listen to what they're saying and really value their dignity, and hygiene may not be so important in that circumstance. So always, and as we go through the learning skills modules over the next few weeks, always thinking about those 5 principles and what you're thinking about when you're thinking about that complex care. So there's a vignette that we're going to have you use, have you view, that is between a family caregiver, a son caring for his mother who is living with dementia. And as we watch that vignette, I want you to think about these principles that we've discussed and think about how they could be applied by the caregiver in this short simulation, and looking at what principles does the caregiver demonstrate, and are there ways that they could be better applied? What's the caregiver doing well, and where are maybe probably where may be opportunities for improvement? So we'll go to the vignette.